So over the last month or so, I've shared with you all a couple different top 10s lists. One being my Netflix top 10 best movies of 2020. And just recently, I gave you all my top 10 movies of 2020 overall. So we're done with 2020 movies. I enjoyed them, but we're now discussing 2021 films. And based on all the delays that we got last year that bled over to this year's slate of films, we got a lot of movies to look forward to, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. I'm going to be sharing with you all my top 10 most anticipated movies coming out in 2021. Let's get into this list. Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with another top 10s list, and this one's a big one. This is my top 10 most anticipated movies coming out in 2021, and we have a lot of movies to look forward to. I mean, there's the big blockbuster films that are coming back, there's the delayed films, there's the new films that are already slated for this year, and of course, there's like a bunch of independent movies that I probably haven't even heard of yet because they're going to be playing at the film festivals that will probably end up on my top 10 movies of this year. So, a lot of movies to look forward to, and I'm so excited to let you all know what movies made that list. But before we dive into it, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you all are following me on all my other social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which you can find all those links in the description below. If you are new to this channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you're at it, hit the notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. It would mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this video. It really helps out the channel, but I also appreciate all the support. And in the comments, now this is going to be my most anticipated movies of this year, but I want to know your list. Share with me your top 10, your top 50, your top 100 films, and let's discuss them all in the comments below. So I do have my list for you all coming pretty soon, but I do also have some honorable mentions. Now, these movies I'm excited to check out. I'm excited to review these movies, but they just weren't able to make the cut, and those films are coming out February 12th. We have Judas and the Black Messiah starring Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, and Jesse Plemons coming to HBO Max and theaters on the same day, February 12th. We have Daniel Craig suiting up for the very last time as James Bond for April 2nd's No Time to Die. Coming out July 23rd, we have the new M. Night Shyamalan thriller titled Old. Coming out June 25th, we have the sequel to Venom, directed by Andy Serkis, titled Venom: Let There Be Carnage. And coming out November 5th, we have an MCU film that I'm really intrigued by. Can't wait to see the first trailer, and that is Eternals. So again, those are my honorable mentions for movies that I'm looking forward to in 2021. But now that we're moving past that, we're now diving into this list here, which is my top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. Starting off with number 10, we have June 4th, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, I am a big Conjuring fan. I love the first Conjuring in 2013. I think it's one of the best horror films last decade. They had a really good follow-up sequel. The only thing that makes me nervous about this new Conjuring movie is James Wan isn't directing this film, ladies and gentlemen, but he is an executive producer. He has his hands heavily involved in the production. He might have even written the script or co-wrote in the script. So there's James Wan's, influence in this film, but we have the director of this film being David Chavez. Now, David Chavez directed La Llorona, which, as a whole, the film wasn't all that great, but there were moments in the movie. Now, I will say, I don't think that James Wan would give the keys to the car, the keys to this franchise, to this person that he doesn't have faith in. So I believe James Wan sees something in David Chavez to give him his baby in The Conjuring to direct this film. Now, of course, we're getting the Warrens back. This case, this premise of this film is very intriguing. It is the first official law case that involves someone claiming they were possessed by the devil, and that was the reasons behind their crime. So really intriguing story. I'm also really intrigued to see what maybe there might be a spinoff within maybe a creature or some type of lore or some type of ghost that they introduce in this third Conjuring that might have a film, its own franchise coming off of that film. So David Chavez, I trust in you. James Wan is still involved. The Warrens are back. This is a really cool premise, and that's why The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, is coming in at number 10, which brings me to number 9, and that is July 9th. We have the next Marvel MCU film coming out, and that is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, you have the director, Dustin Creighton, who I'm a big fan of, Short Term 12. You have Just Mercy. He's a great independent type of character-driven director, so I'm really excited to see him exploring these characters, and I'm not too familiar with Shang-Chi. I know a little bit about the character, but this is another kind of Guardians of the Galaxy situation, another Eternal situation where it's just like, what are these characters about? But I have faith in Marvel. They have enough faith in me as a fan to trust in them. So This gets me excited because number one, we have The Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, we haven't heard of the Ten Rings since 2008's Iron Man, and then you fast forward to 2013 with Iron Man 3, we had the fake Mandarin. So we're getting the Ten Rings in this film and the Mandarin. So there's a lot of Iron Man connections, which makes me think, is Rhodey going to be involved in this film? Is Pepper going to make an appearance? Is Obadiah's out there somewhere? Is Justin Hammer out there? So there is a lot of Iron Man connections, but the thing that really gets me excited for this film is I love karate. I love Kung Fu, and this is apparently going to be like Mortal Kombat in the MCU. We're going to get this tournament of Shang-Chi fighting to get the powers of getting this ring. I'm not too sure, but I am excited for this film. I can't wait to see the first trailer. Really looking forward to it, and that is Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, coming in at number 9, which brings me to number 8. Now, this is a franchise that I'm in love with. And I can admit that the last half of this franchise, maybe the last 4 or 5 films haven't been that great. But coming out, we have on May 21st, coming in at number 8 is Spiral from the Book of Saw. Now, we do have a director I have faith in. We have the director who's directed Saw 2, 3, and 4. 2 of those 3 films are great. I think Saw 2 and Saw 3 are great. Saw 4 is okay, but we have someone that's familiar with the franchise, so that encourages me. And then seeing that trailer last year, Chris Rock looks great. We have Sam Jackson, doing some Sam Jackson things. We have the legend, the lore of Saw. Is this a continuation? Is this a reboot? Is this a sequel? I don't know. I'm excited for it because, again, I own every single Saw movie. I've seen every single Saw movie in theaters opening night, and I'm going to continue that tradition with this new Saw film. So Spiral from the Book of Saw, I'm looking forward to it. Coming in at number 8, which brings me to my number 7, which is August 6th. We have The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. Now, this gets me excited because word is that James Gunn had the opportunity to direct any DC character he wanted to, but he chose the Suicide Squad. And it is, just got announced the other day that it will be rated R. So I'm really excited for that because James Gunn and rated R just fits perfectly. If you all saw his film Super and Slither and just all his stuff, he knows how to really give you the gore and the guts and the blood. I mean, we have King Shark going to probably be biting off heads and limbs. Harley Quinn dropping F-bombs. She has her bash. She's going to be bashing some heads. We got Idris Elba. We got Peacemaker. We got Polka Dot Man. I'm really looking forward to this film. I thought that sizzle reel that we got a DC fandom was really exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this war movie. This, Amanda Waller's back in the mix, and we're bringing in some of the Suicide Squad members from David Ayer's Suicide Squad and mixing them into this film. I'm a DC fan at heart, and you all know this. When I bleed, it is DC colors that I bleed. So I'm really looking forward to James Gunn directing The Suicide Squad, coming in at number 7, which brings me to number 6, which is another horror film coming out August 27th, and that is Candyman. Now, I am a big Candyman fan. 1990s Candyman is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. Very underrated. I'm so excited to see Yahya Abdul-Mateen II taking up the mantle. Really excited to see Nia DaCosta directing this film. I am a big fan of Little Woods. So excited to see what she does with Captain Marvel 2. The trailer was great. We have Jordan Peele involvement as far as executive producer. But again, it's Nia DaCosta. It's my man, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, that gets me excited for this film. I can't wait for it. I love the little featurette trailer that we got with the puppets and the thing that we have. Listen, I couldn't be more excited for this film. I was so bummed that it got delayed, but it is something I'm really excited for. I really think this is going to be a great movie, and who knows what the future of Candyman. It's the second time I said it. I'm not going to say it any more times because I don't want Candyman. No, I said it 3 times now. That's great. But nonetheless, I'm excited for that film coming out in August 27th. That's coming in at number 6. So before I give you all my top 5, if you haven't already, make sure to like, share, leave your list in the comments below. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you don't miss any of those reviews that I have coming for you all this year. So with that being said, let's go on to my number 5. Now, this film's coming out in late December 17th to be exact. And who knows if it'll get delayed to 2023 or 2022, I should say. But I hope it sticks its release date. It's a big film, and I'm talking about Marvel and Sony's Spider-Man 3. Now, Jon Watts is coming back to direct this film. He was announced to be the director of Fantastic Four, so Marvel seems to really be kind of ushering him to be like the next solo Russo brother, giving him a lot of big franchises. So I'm looking forward to see Jon Watts really, put his stamp of approval, put in his kind of sensibilities as a director in his third film. And, I mean, what else can I say about this movie? I mean, Obviously Tom Holland is Spider-Man, but apparently we're getting Spider-Men. We're getting Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man. We're getting Andrew Garfield. We're getting, Mary Jane. And we're getting Gwen Stacy. We got Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. We have Jamie Foxx as Electro. We have Scorpion still out there, Vulture, Mysterio. We have Doctor Strange making an appearance. I mean, this is an Avengers movie, more or less. This is essentially the same thing that they did with Captain America in Civil War, where it was like his movie, but it was essentially Avengers movie. This is the same thing I see with Spider-Man. So I think he's going to still have his through line with a mixture of all these characters. So I think there's still going to be a Tom Holland story with the after effects of Far From Home, of him being outed as Spider-Man, but Daredevil maybe making an appearance. Maybe we'll get some other multiverse characters. Deadpool maybe. Punisher. Who knows? I'm really excited for this film. I can't wait to see the first trailer. And I mean, it's a lot going on in this movie, but I'm really excited for it. That's why Spider-Man 3 is coming in at number 5, which brings me to my number 4, and that is April 23rd's A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, John Krasinski's back. Emily Blunt's back. I love the trailer that we got, which was 2 years ago. I was literally, ladies and gentlemen, I was 3 days away from seeing this film before everything got delayed. So it still kind of hurts me to think that I could have saw, because I know some people that actually saw part 2, and they didn't spoil anything for me, but they let me know this is an incredible sequel, and I can't wait to see this film. Apparently, we've gotten an announcement for a spinoff in this franchise. We're getting another film after this, so who knows? But I can't wait to see what John Krasinski, what Emily Blunt has up their sleeve for the second movie of the Quiet Place franchise, and that is coming in at number 4, Quiet Place Part 2, which brings me to number 3, coming out November 19th. This film has a little bit of controversy behind it because the man behind these films had a little bit of an explosion, and that is Mission Impossible 7. I can't wait for this film. I love the Mission Impossible franchise. I am a big Tom Cruise fan, regardless of his, escapades outside of movie making and the whole thing that happened off screen in regards to him exploding on the crew members of wearing masks and all that. But nonetheless, I can't wait for this film, guys. Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise are just gelling. They're just clicking on all cylinders with their collaborations of this franchise, and they're shooting this film in part 8 back to back. Fallout was incredible. We have some new cast members that I'm really excited for, like Haley Atwell. We're getting some characters from the first Mission Impossible making an appearance in this film. The action is going to be crazy. We know Tom Cruise is jumping off buildings, jumping off trains. He's flying into space. This movie is going to be incredible. I can't wait to see the first trailer for this movie. I can't wait to see whatever the big stunt is that Tom Cruise is doing. But again, Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, they're just clicking and they're just vibing with each other. They're like so in sync with each other, and they know exactly what this franchise is. And I can't wait for part 7 of Mission Impossible coming out November 19th, even though it delayed most recently, but I'm still thinking that it's going to come out in November. So I'm really excited for that film. So now we're down to the final 2. And going back to my fandom of being a horror fan, this is my number 1 horror franchise. My favorite horror movie of all time comes in this franchise. My favorite iconic slasher comes from this franchise. My favorite scream queen comes from this franchise. I think you all might know what I'm talking about. We have on October 15th, Halloween Kills. Now, David Gordon Green is back in the directing chair. We got Laurie back. We got her daughter back. We got her granddaughter back. And we have The Shape coming back with his burnt up mask and everything. And it's apparently going to be gruesome, and I can't wait. Now, again, there's a way to handle gruesome with Michael Myers. We saw what we got with the Rob Zombie films. I hope it's not that over the top and just in your face, gruesome blood, guts, kills. But I want a high body count in this movie. I want Michael to go ham, but I want it to be in a good story. I want it to be, cohesive. I want Laurie to have a good story. I want the other characters returning from the original Halloween to have a good story and a reason why they're back in the franchise. So that first, we've gotten a total of 33 seconds of footage of this film, and we're probably going to get a trailer within the next few months. But again, this is my favorite horror franchise. This is my favorite slash, my favorite Final Girl. I really enjoyed 2018's Halloween, and I'm really excited for Halloween Kills coming out October 15th. And that is my number 2, which brings me to one film. Now, this film was the same movie that made my number 1 last year, and nothing has changed from last year or this year. I'm talking about my favorite director, some of my favorite actors in this movie of a franchise that I hope becomes a franchise. I'm talking about the one and only October 1st, Dune. Now, I have seen the original Dune. I actually reviewed it on this channel if you want to get my thoughts on the David Lynch's Dune, but it's this world that gets me excited in regards to Arrakis and going to outer space and the different families and Duke. And I mean, there's so much lore within this franchise, the mothers, all the stuff that we get with Dune. I'm really excited to see Denis Villeneuve direct this film. Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Josh Brolin, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Javier Bardem. I mean, the list goes on. Dave Bautista. This cast is ridiculous. That trailer that we got a couple months ago was amazing. It said that this is part 1 of a part 2, even though we had the HBO releasing in theaters and on HBO Max the same day. I'm hoping by October 1st that everything as regards to going to movies is going to be safe and we can go to see this film, because I plan on seeing this movie in the biggest screen possible and then coming right back home and rewatching on HBO Max. I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait for the spin-off show on HBO Max with the mothers exploring their whole mythology. So I'm a Dune fan. I'm a Denis Villeneuve fan. I'm a big fan of this cast. I cannot wait for this film to come out, and that is Dune, October 1st. Can't get here soon enough. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. Can't wait to see what we get. And again, there's a ton of movies I didn't even mention that I'm excited for. There's a ton of independent movies coming out this year that will be great as well. So we got a great year of cinema coming to us really soon. So there you have it. Make sure you all let me know your list in the comments below. Thank you all for watching this video here, this breakdown. As always, make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you don't miss any of my content. Hope you all are staying safe. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next video.